Thanks for listening to the ArtTactic podcast. I'm your host, Adam Green. In this edition of Behind the Report, we take a look at ArtTactic's final report of the year, the Art Market 2022, a year in review. Total auction sales of old masters, impressionist, modern, post-war, and contemporary art at the big three auction houses, Sotheby's, Christie's, and Phillips, ended up at $7.5 billion this year. That's up 14.7% from last year and a historic high for these five collecting categories. These results were greatly aided by a record year for single-owner collections coming to auctions. Just how big was their impact on overall auction numbers? Well, single-owner collections accounted for a record 30.9% of total auction sales. That's 30.9%. That's up significantly from 19.3% last year and only 6.8% in 2020. Let's break things down by each collecting category. Total auction sales of established contemporary art ended up at $1.59 billion, surprisingly down 14.3% from last year, but still up 10.1% from pre-pandemic levels in 2019. Meanwhile, total sales of post-war art ended up at $1.48 billion. That's an increase of 15.4% from 2021, and it's 31% higher than pre-pandemic levels in 2019. Also, the modern art market continued its momentum, totaling $2.06 billion in sales this year, up 15.5% from a year ago. If we look further into the past, the impressionist market saw incredible growth in 2022, raising a total of $1.72 billion. That's 80% higher than last year's total of $958 million. Perhaps the most important contributor to these results was the Paul Allen collection, which alone generated $740.4 million in sales of impressionist art. And if we look even further back, auction sales of old masters continued a positive trajectory this year, with an increase of 26.7% in sales, up to $369 million. Finally, if we take a step into a different direction, interestingly, NFTs generated $108.6 million in 2021. That fell dramatically at only $6.9 million in 2022. It'll be fascinating to see how the market performs in 2023, given the heightened geopolitical tension on the back of the war in Ukraine, surging inflation, higher interest rates, escalating energy costs, and of course a possible recession. We will of course continue to track the market and share coverage with regularity in our reports. Thanks again for listening to this episode of Behind the Report. You can download our Art Market 2022, a year in review report right now by visiting arttactic.com.